Virgo season is really going to fortify these other energies into us. Hey y'all, welcome to Meryl's Mystic. I'm Meryl, and I empower witches, bitches, and dudes to complete themselves in order to have healthier soulmate relationships and more purposeful lives. And I'm also a tarot psychic medium, and I connect with the universe and the spirit world to bring you any messages that you may need to help navigate the ever-changing energy in on this crazy blue ball that we're flying through space on together. Welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, I'm so happy you're here. If you've been here before and you're returning, I'm also happy you're here. Thank you so much for your support. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, share with your friends, cross-watch. For the tarot scopes, I always recommend that you watch for your sun, moon, and rising sign. These are general readings, so the messages might not always land with you, and that's okay. You can leave them for someone else and wait for the messages that are meant for you. So today we are here to talk about Virgo season. Happy birthday, Virgos. I think we'll probably need a little bit of grounding after Leo season, although it was a really fun, fulfilling Leo season, and I hope that you got some of the Leo season magic in your world. And it's still time. There's still time. You can still go and watch your Leo season tarot scopes if you haven't. We definitely are going to have some of the fun, unapologetic energy carrying into Virgo season. So Virgo season goes from August 22nd, the evening of the 22nd, maybe the 23rd where you are, to September 21st. And so in the northern hemisphere, this is the end of summer and it is the end of winter in the southern hemisphere. And so Virgo season is a mutable sign, and mutable signs always come at the end of the earthly seasons. And then we have an Aquarius. Well, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, right before Virgo season turned to Virgo season, the evening before into the morning after, the 21st to the 22nd, is our second Aquarius full moon. And if you haven't watched the replay of the Aquarius full moon live, definitely go check out the energy reading for what the Aquarius full moon is. The second Aquarius full moon is bringing us. Leo season was bookended by these Aquarius full moons, and since it's literally pretty much happening the same day that Virgo season switches over, it's within the same 12-hour period that these energies are all transitioning. It's gonna carry a lot of that Aquarius energy, and some of the Leo energy that played with the Aquarius energy of being our unapologetic weird selves, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Some other dates that you'll need to remember is Venus went into Libra on August 16th and will be there until September 10th. Now, Venus rules Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. And so when planets are always in their ruling sign, they affect us much more powerfully. And when Venus is in Libra, it really has us prioritizing our emotions when it comes to relationships, not just romantic relationships. And really, I feel like I just heard love languages. And so I could see that this is a time where we're really going to be exploring what our love languages are, and also how do we communicate that to others. The Venus in Libra will be helping us communicate our boundaries also. Any of these forms of self-love, or how we love each other, how we love each other, how we want to be loved, all that kind of stuff is really going to be stirred up for those couple weeks, or It's just under a month. Next, the Virgo new moon is Tuesday, September 7th, and there will be a live probably like that Friday or Saturday before. Keep an eye on my social media to find out. And then we will have our full moon in Pisces right at the end of Virgo season on September 20th, which is interesting because we're going to really have kind of like a very Virgo-y Virgo season, since the full moon, a lot of the time the full moon can kind of help break up the energy of the season and can give us a nice balance to it. But we're having these moments now where the full moons are coming at the end of the season, so it's kind of like a highlight. So I'm very curious to see how this Virgo season, how the next month is kind of, I have a feeling the energy is going to kind of build up to this full moon. So all this Virgo energy is really we're still playing off of the energy from the season before. It's the theme of this year. And we're coming off of this very strong Leo Aquarius energy from Leo season, and it's being brought into Virgo season by this last Aquarius full moon. The Aquarius full moon is helping bring over this Leo season energy that was really highlighted by these Aquarius moons, and this energy of being our unapologetic self, being, even if it looked weird from the outside, and really like accepting who we are. And from Cancer season we got like, what do we really want and who are we really? And now in Virgo season, it's really about like just standing in that place, standing in who you are. I think Virgo energy sometimes can be overlooked because a lot of Virgos can appear to be introverted, or they can kind of stand off in the back. They like to be supporting players. And because it's just after Leo season, which is a very expansive energy, there is more of a contracting energy in Virgo season. And I think Virgo energy and Virgos in general can sometimes be easily overlooked because they all appear always to like have their shit together. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't that be great? Which, I have a Virgo moon, and so I have noticed that people are like, man, you really seem like you have your shit together. I'm like, well, at least it seems like I do. Maybe one day reality will catch up. So, but the really valuable thing about Virgos and Virgo energy is that they're an earth sign, and that they're usually very solid people. They usually already know what they want and what they're working towards, and they seem to be able to effortlessly balance like all the parts of their life. And so we really, that's the part of Virgo that we really need right now, especially after maybe some of the transitions or sacrifices that you felt you've been making this year in order to really step into who you are and to show up as the fullest embodiment of yourself. We really need this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Virgo season is really going to fortify these other energies into us. So you can still go back and look at your Leo season tarot scopes. You can even go back and look at Cancer tarot scopes, because you really needed to know what Cancer season was bringing you in order to tap into Leo season, and then in Virgo season, that's all getting fortified within us. So it really doesn't matter when you watch these things, you get the messages when you're supposed to get the messages. So it really is kind of it's just about, and the word boundaries kind of kept coming up, but it's more than that. We were already setting boundaries at the beginning of this journey, we've already had a lot of this energy of like setting boundaries, and this is more just the boundaries are already set. It's about maintaining them. It's about holding those boundaries. It's about holding ourselves accountable for the intentions that we've set, and not allowing ourselves or others to take advantage of that. So another piece of this about boundaries and holding ourselves accountable is our rituals and our habits. And this started coming up with the Leo full moon, that we really needed to start looking closer at not just like our rituals and our routines, because we all need routine in a certain way, but it's also like our habits within our routines and the things that we are doing on autopilot, and we just do them all the time because we're used to it, and a lot of that stuff like you have to continue doing. But we also should be recognizing maybe the habits we formed that aren't really serving us anymore. The routines we've created that aren't setting us up for success. So this is really about like self-responsibility, because that's another quality associated with Virgo, responsibility. They are an earth sign. They know how to show up. They know how to get things done. They know how to make plans. So they're can-do people. They just do it in such a subtle way that unless you have a Virgo close to you that you know, you probably wouldn't even like realize like who the Virgos are. I always feel like it's a lot of times earth signs always surprise you that they're earth signs. Because most earth signs have a good sense of humor too, but they're naturally supportive people when they're not in their shadow, at least. But we all have a shadow. It's for every sign. Every sign has a light and a shadow side. So we're trying to focus on the light side of this energy. But there's always lessons that come with this energy also. And that brings us to our tarot card of the season, which is the Hermit. Virgo is associated with the Hermit card in the Major Arcana, and this is part of like why I feel like Virgo can get a bad rap, because they can easily isolate and be introverted. But I know a lot of Virgos that once you get them out of their shell, they're like out of their shell and they're like, we're gonna do this now. And so with the Hermit, and this is really great for this season, because the Hermit is all about like learning also. It's represented by a masculine figure. And if you notice that they are actually on top of a mountain here, like looking down on creation. And then you see the light in their lantern, and then the staff is actually very symbolic also. Staffs have been used as symbols in all sorts of beliefs and religions for a long time, and it's a symbol of like the way shower, the leader of the person that knows the way. And then we have the like literal light representation of light, and that's also of idea. And the thing about the Hermit is that, knowledge is power for sure, and Virgo is not a dummy at all. I feel like it's very rare to find a struggling Virgo. We're all human though. And the thing about the Hermit is though that the Hermit has to come out of their cave eventually. You can't just like hoard all this knowledge and education to yourself. You have to share it eventually. That is like a big lesson and message of the Hermit. And when it comes to this Virgo season, it's really great because we're having it highlighted by this Libra in Venus, and we're carrying over our lessons from Cancer and Leo season. And so, and this has all been about learning about ourselves, really, and learning about like how we are with people, and how we are with ourselves, and how we are in the world. And now it's time to fortify that and stand in it. Let's see, they're standing strong. They're looking down like, oh, there's probably some people I should let know what's going on. So it is about that, about being honest too about these things that we've learned about ourselves with those around us. So that's the general overview for Virgo season. Please be sure to follow me at Meryl's Mystic on all platforms so that you can dive deeper with me throughout the season. I do a live for the new moon and the full moon, and then those energy overviews will be posted on YouTube. Cool. Let's get into your Teroscopes. Hi, Leo. How was your season? How was your birthday? I hope you're feeling like your best self. I hope that your season made other people feel like their best self. I hope it worked out. Ooh, okay. I didn't even see this guy fall out. I keep wanting to say Libra season all of a sudden. Virgo season. Jumping ahead. King of Swords, which also could be a Libra or an Aquarius. So the King of Swords is a meditation master. So, and every time the King or Queen of Swords, the Queen is also a meditation master also, and every time they come forward, I always say that you probably need to work on your meditation practice. I know I always do. It's a constant practice. That's why it's called a practice and not a perfect. So the King of Swords, though, they have a certain flexibility about them that the Queen doesn't have. The Queen kind of has this rigidity, but she needs the rigidity. The Queen is like the structure. And then the King, the King has to always think of everybody else. And so there is a flexibility in the mindset of the King. And so they're wondering where there needs to be more flexibility in your mindset, Leo. I mean, you already know that you're royalty, and and Leos are natural leaders and rulers. So where in your leadership does there need to be more flexibility also? Are you listening to those around you? Are you giving enough time and energy to certain people in your life? Okay, we got a few. Okay, all right. So the Hermit is surprisingly coming up a lot for people, really validating this Virgo season energy, and that this is like an important time for everybody to really make sure they're going inward and examining things, examining the lessons of Virgo season, fortifying who you are, fortifying your position in life, and what you've created and manifested. After that, we have the 10 of Swords and the 7 of Swords, and then the Ace of Wands in reverse. So what's going on here? So for some of you, so the 10 of Swords is really about the end of struggle. So if you feel like you've been struggling or suffering, this is like the end of that. And I know it looks really horrible, but like, I know a lot of people that could always relate to this. Like, yeah, that's how I feel. It's just like, I can't catch a break, one thing after the other. But the important thing is after the darkest night comes a new day. There's a new horizon. Excuse me. It's a new day on the horizon. There's the light at the end of the tunnel. So whatever your struggles have been, I hope that you are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and it feels like Virgo season is going to be showing you that light at the end of the tunnel. And then with the Seven of Swords, there's a couple messages with the Seven of Swords. One of them is that it might just be time for you to, in order to feel like this is really ending and that you're really going towards this end of this struggle, you might just have to like cut some of your losses and take what you can and get out now. And you might have to do it in a way that maybe isn't favorable. You might have to be a little sneaky about it. The other thing could be, this can also be a warning for some people to really like examine who and what you're surrounding yourself with. And could like, because I feel like sometimes you could be so open that you could easily be taken advantage of. And so this, and you don't like to be taken advantage of because you're smart. You're no dummy. So I don't like warning people with this card. This card's always been a hard one for me to connect with because it doesn't have the best feeling for it. I actually feel like this is like even ickier feeling than the like Tower or the Death card or anything like that, or even the Ten of Swords, because this could mean betrayal. It could mean like lies and sneakiness, but also I always felt like it could be misunderstandings and misconceptions, because also right away you're like, oh man, that guy's stealing those swords, where is he going with those swords? But then there was something that came to me once where it was like, well, maybe he's not stealing them, maybe he's cleaning them, maybe he's maybe he thought he would do somebody a favor. He's like, I'm gonna go clean these swords for these guys while they're in the bar, because they worked hard, so I'm gonna do my part. So there could be something happening for you where it looks good, but it's not as good, or it doesn't look very good, and it's actually a lot better than you think it is. But there is something about like your mindset here between the King of Swords and these two swords. There is something going on with your mindset that needs to be looked at during Virgo season. And maybe part of that is like how you view yourself or how you view others. I just kind of got... I was trying to think of like the Leos in my life and what they've been going through. And I think what happens with Leo, because your love is so strong and you're usually tapped into your own love languages so much that sometimes it's hard for you to tap into other people's love languages, and you don't always understand like why it's like you take your love language and project it on to the people that you love instead of learning what their love language is. And so Leo can easily get offended if the person you're putting this love language out for, like, okay, for example, Mom, I have to use you as an example. My mom, one of my mom's love languages is receiving of gifts and giving of gifts. And that is not, and it used to be a bigger priority for her. It's not as much anymore, but she definitely like giving gifts is a love language for her, and that is not, it's not really a love language for me. And there was a long part of being a teenager with her that she would kind of buy me things I thought that she would like, and there was one Christmas I remember where it was like, oh, you finally sorry Mom, you finally figured out what I would like, and this is really, you bought something that I would like, not necessarily something that you would want me to like. Does that make sense? So then I also have to remember that like her love language is part of like gifts, but also like my love language also is quality time. So like she has to also recognize that me giving her my time is part of my love language. So there's there's something, I feel like the Seven of Swords is something where there's like, it's like blocking this like flow, because you might just be assuming that I show my love this way, so they're going to feel my love this way. But they might not show or receive love that way. So it's kind of time to maybe figure out how they do it and recognize how they're actually showing. Maybe you don't see it because it's not in a way that you recognize. And maybe they don't see what you're doing for them because you're not speaking their language. So that's what I mean with like misunderstandings. There is like a misunderstanding thing going on here, okay? Where there's just like, feels like there's a piece of the puzzle missing. Missing piece of the puzzle that would just like clear it all up for you. You're like, oh, okay. Now I get it. Because before I was really hurt because I didn't understand. Because you guys have such big hearts, you take it to heart and you assume that people are just hurting you to hurt you, and I find that often that is not the case. It's just that they weren't speaking your love language, and maybe it's time for you to tell them what your love language is too. Like, this, I feel unloved when you do it this way. Like, I really just need this little bit for you to show, so that like we're affirming each other's love. That's a human thing. I really always hated that mindset of like, well, if we're together, then I don't need to remind them that I love them. Obviously I love them if we're together. No, don't do that. Affirm you still love them. I know you do it. So the other part of this is the Ace of Wands in reverse, which is interesting that the Ace of Wands came up a lot all of a sudden. And again, it just feels like this misunderstanding is like dimming the light. It's like dimming the fire. So maybe there is like a Virgo or an air sign that you have a relationship with, and there's like this misunderstanding, and it's just like this Ace of Wands in reverse feels like the disconnect, and the like, it's not your, you know, the fire, the passion, the connection, the spark is going out. So it might be time to even have like a difficult conversation and be like, hey, I know that these things aren't like going that good, but this is, you know, we got to figure this out. We need a little bit of risk for a bigger reward. Because without these things looking at, you're going to be out here waiting for return. You're going to be waiting for something for a long time. Waiting for those ships to come in, but you didn't send them out there with everything they needed, so they might not come back. It's about setting people up for success to love us the best way they can, and so that we can love them the best way, so that you can love them the best way. So you setting up the people around you for success to be in your life. You're unique, Leo, like you know you expect certain things, and that people aren't always going to understand that around you. So this is really about these communications and being super clear and hoping and not thinking that people are just going to read your mind or read your hints or your clues or your subtle, you know, your subtle ways of saying things. Like, I remember growing up, my mom, who's a Leo, used to that's why I used her as an example earlier. Sorry, Mom. She used to always say stuff like, it'd be really nice if someone did this thing, blah, 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 blah. Like, someone emptied the dishwasher, took out the trash, and be like, can you just ask me? Can you just say, hey, would you mind emptying the dishwasher for me? Like, stop doing it. It'd be really nice if this person, like, yeah, it would be really nice if somebody did that. So a little bit more directness, okay? I know you guys like to be like coy and flirty and all that kind of stuff, and that there's a time and place for all of that, but this is a time for a little bit more direct communication, okay? And if you need support doing that, you let me know. All right, let's get you a Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. Ooh, Hunger. Wolf Moon. These have been really great this time around. I haven't pulled a single one twice. Everyone's been right on. Hunger. Feel the good and hope within you. There will always be a lean part of the cycle. Prosperity will come. Do not let your hunger blindly dictate your actions entirely. And this is like the hunger for intimacy and vulnerability. The affirmation is, I recognize all that I hunger for. I recognize all that I hunger for. I recognize all that I hunger for. An old and wise Cherokee of the First Nations of the U.S., this is, I think she's Australian, is speaking to his grandson about life. The young boy asks his grandfather, "It is said, grandfather, that everyone has two wolves within them." I feel like most people in America have heard this story. The first wolf gives darkness, despair, and hate, and jealousy, and sorrow. The second wolf gives light and hope, and helpfulness, and kindness. Yes, yet, grandfather, I feel them fighting within me. What can I do? My small son, these two wolves will always fight, and they will fight within each person. You are no different, said the grandfather. But, said the boy, grandfather, which wolf will win? And the grandfather answers, whichever wolf you feed. You must be careful about what we nourish and feed within us. If we give abundance to the aspects of the self that can harm others and ourselves, then we cannot truly thrive. Having no limitations upon these behaviors and patterns hurts us and starves the higher and finer parts of ourselves that will bring us more happiness. To ripple that happiness to others is part of why we are on this planet as humans. We must also recognize that in life, just because it is a cycle, there will always be leaner, less abundant, or less bright times. Yet, we have built our resilience and self-trust for times like this, and we know we are loved, both loved and protected. The cycle will soon turn to less shadowy and more bounty. Companion Stone, Amazonite. The cycle will soon turn to less shadowy and more bounty. So you do have a little bit of a shadow part here, Leo. We are having to look a little bit at those parts of yourself that might not be the most favorable and might sometimes annoy other people. And I'm not trying to talk shit. I understand. I'm a Scorpio. I have lots of aspects that annoy people. I used to have aspects of myself that annoyed me, and it took a lot of self-reflection and shadow work and, and difficult conversations and therapy to not let those rule me. So there you have a choice, Leo. You can keep being in this weird place of not getting your needs met and not meeting the needs of those around you, or you can maybe not take the easiest path, but the one with the most reward, which is having the difficult conversations, looking at the difficult things, because the reward is there, and you are capable. You are so capable. And the people around you love you, and you're amazing, and they want to be connected with you more. I think you can tend to keep people at a distance because you're so afraid of being hurt, and then that can alienate the people around you without you even realizing it. So let them in. Let them in. Let them in, not just for you, but for them also, okay? All right, Leo, I love you. You're going to do great. I believe in you. Let me know if you need anything, and I will see you for Libra season. Bye.